everyone, and welcome to the Graduate Program Coordinators meeting this afternoon. We are glad to see all of you, albeit virtually, and thank you for joining with us. We have some important updates from the graduate school, and I'll use a PowerPoint to share some of these updates. I'm hoping you can see the PowerPoint. And again, thank you for joining with us. So we have some staffing changes. And so I'd like Ms. Elizabeth or Lizzie Dorr, who joined our operations as office associate in August to speak a few words. Lizzie?
Hi, Dr. Kudali. Like Dr. Kudali said, I just started not that long ago. But if you call the graduate school phone or email, you're going to get a hold of me and speak to me. I definitely rely a lot on program coordinators for their knowledge base. And I encourage anyone who has any questions for me just to reach out. And I'd love to do anything I can help to basically make your position as easy as possible. So feel free to do that whenever you feel the need. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Lizzie. So Lizzie was trained by Ms. Laura Birchfield, who was the previous office associate and has now moved to a position of outreach coordinator, serving both the Office of Research and Creative Activity and the graduate school. So she spent a lot of time in August in training Lizzie and keeping Lizzie up to the latest advances in graduate school. So I'm grateful to Lizzie for accepting the position, and also to Laura for her patience and the time and effort taken to train Lizzie to come up to speed. Laura, you want to talk a little bit about your position? I know we'll talk about it extensively later on in one of the slides.
Of course, like Dr. Kudali had said, I've been with the graduate school for, roughly 5 years, since 2016, and transitioned into this new role for research and graduate education outreach coordinator. So I work very closely with Dr. Kudali on upcoming sessions and workshops. The hybrid role, like he mentioned, is also between the Office of Research and Creativity and the graduate school. So I'm excited to, continue working with our graduate students and also learning some more about undergraduate research. So I'm sure I'll see lots of you all in upcoming workshops.
Thank you, Laura. I should also point out that Lizzie will be taking notes at the Graduate Council meeting. She could not attend the last Graduate Council meeting, and nor could Laura. She was ill and indisposed. But Lizzie will be helping the Graduate Council take the notes and share that with Dr. Martha Day, who is the chair of the Graduate Council. We will have another change in the staffing, a new budget manager. Actually, the title is Budget and Resources Manager, will start on October the 7th. An offer was extended just recently and accepted, but I would like to keep that information privileged because the individual has not yet shared this new position with the supervisor. So very soon we will have a new budget manager. Ms. Shonda Spencer is leaving after years of exceptional service. She wants to be close to her family, and so this is why the staffing change has been necessitated. Please do stop me at any time. Feel free to post questions that you may in the chat feature, and between Laura, Lizzie, and me, we will pay attention to the chat, and usually I will try to pause after each slide, and there will be plenty of time to ask questions of us, plans for the future, etc. at the end as well. So we would like this to be quite engaging. And Laura, can we do the first poll as a start? All right, here's the first question, just to get a sampling of how long have you been a graduate program coordinator? It just gives us some idea. Thank you. Wonderful. I hope you can see now. We have about almost 1/3 who are less than a year. So thank you for serving as a graduate program coordinator. We are here to help you. We have about 43% over 3 years or more. So really very well seasoned graduate program coordinators and some in between. Thank you very much for those who participated in this poll. Wonderful. That gives us some idea of whom we are talking to. Trying to advance the slide. I'm trying to see. 1 minute. Oh, hoping, can we see the second slide? I'm some troubles. Barb, can you see the graduate admission slide?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wonderful. So our admissions is again, there are no changes there. Ms. Barbara Chaffin is the admissions associate, and Ms. Julie Harris is the graduate admissions specialist. They have the longest service to the graduate school, and I'm deeply grateful to both of them for continuing on. And I rely on their sage advice and institutional knowledge to guide me with admissions. Barb, you want to share a few highlights with this group? Are you muted, Barb?
Sorry about that. Yes, I'm here to assist any of the program coordinators in any way possible. And you probably know how to reach me, and either by email or calling. And we're here to help you and the students in every way possible. Thank you.
Wonderful, thank you, Barb. Julie is the primary graduate admissions processor and a graduate admissions specialist. She's the longest serving graduate admissions staff, and so I rely again on her for feedback, questions, policy, potential changes, etc. So Julie, anything to share with the program coordinators and other leaders?
Thank you, Dr. Kudali, and good afternoon to everyone. I'm glad that you all could join us this afternoon. It's just glad to kind of catch up with everyone after the last year and a half or so that we've had with COVID. So I know the admissions area, we've had a few updates this semester and for this academic year. But again, I'm Julie Harris. I work in the admissions area with Barb. Most of you all know us, and hopefully you know that we are here to help and assist you as much as we possibly can. I hope that we're prompt in our responses and our replies to you all as you seek to try to guide your students along the way. I don't know, Dr. Kudali, were you going to go down the bullet points of the admissions slide? I'm not sure what your plan was.
Could you go through, especially starting from the third one, from the by term?
Sure. So, of course, we know the second by term begins Wednesday, October 20th for the fall semester. So shortly thereafter, the graduate application will shut off for the fall, because it will be no longer a point at the semester in which we can admit anyone. We leave it open up until that point to ensure that folks that do want to come in to get into a late term class can do so. We've published that so everyone will be aware of that. And of course, we encourage our admitted students to enroll as quickly as possible for our census numbers. And that will be coming up in October as well, when they'll do that snapshot of our enrollment. We are now, this fall, we have decided to go ahead and start accepting the IELTS indicator test. This came into play especially during the COVID pandemic, as folks were unable to get to testing centers or testing centers were closed and unavailable. So it is more of a home test, but Dr. Kudali and I have both done some research on it, and he feels good about going ahead and accepting that score going forward. So that is a new addition to the academic year this year, as far as our international language exam scores that we will accept. Just another, this has been around forever, but just to update everyone, or if you're new, anytime someone wants to change a program or a concentration or a concentration at the graduate level, that does require an updated application. We are a little different than undergrad in the sense that it's not an umbrella admission like undergrad admissions. And so our programs are very specific. The program admissions are different from program to program and vary. And so when someone wants to make that change at the graduate level, it does require an updated application at no additional cost. Some people sometimes sort of assume that that's the first thing that they're going to have to do is repay that fee. And currently there is no reapplication fee, but we do encourage students to log into the application using their WKU ID number and their 6-digit PIN. As long as they do that, they should not be prompted to pay that fee on any application past the first one that is submitted. Also, something new this semester that Barb and Scott Gordon and I have worked on was a little bit of a change to our change of term process. For the past several years, we have aided students that someone, for example, is admitted to fall, and as you all know, life happens, things come up. They decide they can enroll in fall, but they want to push forward to the winter term or to the next spring term. And so for the last several years, we have made those changes manually, which keeps them from having to submit an updated application if they're just changing a term, not changing a program, not changing the concentration, by an email. And we would take an email from the student requesting that change. We have this semester formed a new web form that is on our website. If you go to our website at wku.edu/graduate/admission, you'll see the change of term request form under our forms tab. And it's a very quick form that comes straight through into the graduate.school email account. And then those are then forwarded to Barbara and myself to process. We then we reply to the email once we've processed the change of term, and then we index that form as correspondence to the student's application. So we have a record of why that change was made at their request. So that is certainly just a not a new thing, but a new way of handling those change of term requests going forward. I was trying to see what else is. So we will no longer accept an email request. We do request that they supply the form, the web form, to us for that.
And Julie, the important thing was it's only for domestic students, right?
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Kudali. I can't see the bottom of that on my screen here at the house, but yes.
For sure.
Changes of term are only for domestic students, and the reason being is that when international students are going to change their term, they are required to supply an updated application for immigration purposes, because we do have to issue a new letter with the new admit term for those students. When we process a manual change of term, we manually change them and we update their catalog term, and then we move on. There's no new admission letter, nothing like that new that runs. We just make that manual change for them. But it's different in the sense for international students that they do have to have a new letter, so an updated I-20 can be generated for the Department of Homeland Security.
Wonderful. Thank you, Barb and Julie, for all the hard work you do to help the programs in getting the completed applications and then processing the applications. I'm deeply grateful.
It looks like
So
we
there is
have
a question from
question.
Dr. Ann Farrell, Julie. Do they still need to reapply if they want to defer to the following year?
The international students,
Dr. Farrell, is it domestic or international?
I assume domestic because it sounds like international would, but so domestic students, if it's going to be at more than a year, like from this fall
Yes.
to next fall.
yes, because I will do a change for up to 2 terms out, but I do not like to do a change of term for a full calendar year in advance. And the reason being is that, you know, during the course of an academic year, our programs change, admission criteria, degree criteria can change. And so I really don't like to make a push that far in advance.
Gotcha. Thank you. That makes sense.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Farrell. Appreciate the question. Thank you again, Barbara and Julie, for all that you do. I'll try to advance the slide. Let's see if it will work. All right, records. So we're going to spend some time discussing records. What has been exciting to WKU is the implementation of DegreeWorks, both at the undergraduate and graduate level. So Dr. Colette Chelf worked incredibly hard on the graduate side, and to have this new software integrate with Banner and provide service to faculty and particularly to students. So the record side, we have Dr. Chelf as an Associate Director of Graduate Records, and Ms. Lisa Myers, who works incredibly hard and in her role as a Graduate Records Assistant. Lisa, do you want to first talk a little bit about what you do? And then we'll go to Dr. Chelf and she can continue with the slides.
Good afternoon. I wanted to thank everyone for being able to join us for a little while this afternoon. In my role, I will follow all of the graduate students once they have processed through the admissions process. I will follow them through their matriculation all the way through their final degree audits. And as we know, with DegreeWorks, everything's changing, all of our processes, and we're, you know, what we think may work one week, we may have to tweak the next week. So I would just request a little patience while we work through this together. But most of the things like JUMP at this time, I think most of those other programs are going to be handled typically the same way we've done them in the past, just doing away with the programs of study and trying to gear more students and faculty toward the DegreeWorks side of things.
Wonderful, Lisa. Dr. Chelf, you have a few slides, so it is all yours now.
Thank you, Dr. Kudali. Welcome, everybody, and definitely welcome to all you new folks out there. We have quite a few. So we'll hit the highlights on records. I want to recognize our student worker, first and foremost, Izzy Moses. She is on the call, and I just wanted to be sure to recognize her. Izzy has been helping us behind the scenes with the DegreeWorks implementation. She has done countless audits of student data, seeing what we have, clean data and data we need added. And along with her, it's not on this slide, is to recognize our IT support person, people, plural, Gina Johnson and Brandy Fowler, several others, many others. It has been a real group effort this past year, especially with the pandemic. And so I just wanted to be sure and thank all of those people for their effort and work that they've done this year. A couple of things, couple of changes. Appeals of graduate policy and appeals of academic dismissal are now handled by the Associate Provost for Research and Graduate Education, Dr. Kudali. The forms are online like they've always been, and the submission is the same to Graduate Records. A couple of policy updates. Many of you all know that Graduate Council worked on the Graduate Policy Committee of a subcommittee of Graduate Council worked on the JUMP policy last year, It was not approved by the provost, so we will continue to follow the individual jump agreements for this academic year. And I just wanted to share that. We have had some discussions with legal counsel, student conduct, some different areas about academic misconduct. I know there is some confusion on campus on how to refer a student, where to refer a student, things like that. And the consensus at the end is that you will refer academic misconduct to the student conduct office, and they will have a due process procedure for the student. However, sanctions are not done in student conduct. That is by the recommendation of the faculty. So there is a slight difference in that process, because I know several of you in the past maybe would send a dismissal or plagiarism or things like that, maybe a handbook violation. So we want to be sure that we're following university procedure on that. So I wanted to share that outcome. You can flip the slide, please.
Okay. Let's see. Oops.
Okay, so like Dr. Kudali said, our very big project this year that has come to fruition, we're very excited about, is DegreeWorks. There are lots of trainings set for DegreeWorks. I'm going to skip right to that. So if this is unfamiliar to you, there are opportunities for training beyond what we're going to talk about today. And those are on the DegreeWorks website. We share that with the registrar's office, and they are hosting several trainings throughout the fall term. And I will be at those. I was not at the one on the 21st, but I see that they've already added another one that I did not get onto the slide on the 27th. So if you want to go look at that and look at those trainings, and if you're needing to know more about it, please do sign up for one of those. As Lisa mentioned, this does discontinue our paper program of study, which no one is more pleased about that than the graduate records area. But I know that you all are too. It's something we've all been looking forward to for a very long time. Only students admitted prior to fall of 2019 need that paper program of study. Or if you are going to if your student is going to complete a degree or certificate in December, because we are still in transition, we do need a paper program of study approved for them, for Lisa to do their audit in December. We're making comparisons across from the summer term. We looked at DegreeWorks. Lisa continued to do the manual auditing, and I was comparing. Izzy was helping me compare audits across August, and we'll do that same thing in December, just to be sure that we have everything we need in DegreeWorks and that it's functioning properly. A couple of forms are new. One form is new that is replacing the program of study and also the program of study change form, and that's the curriculum exception form, which is a parallel form to what some of you may be familiar with at the undergrad level is the ICAP exception form. Undergrad is also on DegreeWorks now. So we have curriculum exception forms to make an exception to DegreeWorks. In the past, that would have made an exception to our paper program of study, or it would have made an exception to the undergrad ICAP. So now we have that form. That form also includes transfer articulation work. So if you'll want to take a look at that, I can do that maybe. That's not a hot link, but I'll show you DegreeWorks in a second and we can flip
Which
over.
one, Dr. Shell, which one do you want?
The form was not I can't.
The curriculum exception?
Yes, if you don't care, that would be great. We'll just take a quick look at that. And again, this form is on the graduate school's website under forms. So as you can see.
Yep, okay.
Yes.
Wonderful.
If you're going to substitute a course, you've got places there to put that. And then at the bottom, you have places to put any transfer coursework that you would like applied to the student's program. It looks like.
Lisa, anything to share from your perspective since you process these forms?
I would just recommend to assist to complete the form as much as possible. Some of the differences, like in a traditional program of study, We just had them put the course title and number. Now, you want the full title if you can fit it in there, or as much as possible, so that we can, when I'm processing those, we can look and see to make sure that those courses are equivalent, or find them easier if there's any issues with similarities from another course.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Should I move to the next form, Dr. Chelf?
Yes, that will be great. Mhm.
Wonderful. And then we'll take the question from Dr. Gardner.
Yes.
I'll go to the
So the-
catalog.
Yes, the catalog change year is aligned to, it is a web form. You don't have to download anything. It is an opportunity for students to change their catalog year. And again, this is a similar process if you are familiar with the undergrad. Students are eligible, they follow the curriculum for the catalog that matches their admission term. So let's say if a student was admitted in fall of 20, they will follow the 2021 catalog. If you change your program for some reason and the student would like to opt to follow the program requirements in a newer catalog, they can do that. And we will change that, and it will automatically show on DegreeWorks that they are following that newer catalog curriculum requirements. Students may not opt for an older catalog, so please keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is the concentration there. I know that we have a lot of programs that have concentrations or not, and then add concentrations or change concentrations, drop them, different things. So students, if they're admitted in fall with a degree concentration combination and they want to follow a newer curriculum, we must still have that degree concentration combination in order to move that catalog year. They cannot drop their concentration by changing the catalog year. So that requires that new admission to do that. But this is an opportunity that we have really done manually. When Lisa would receive a program of study, she would look at that curriculum and say, when was the student admitted? Does it match that curriculum? No. Does it match the next catalog's curriculum? No. Does it match the next one? Oh, it matches this one. And she would manually write that on there for the student and for the advisor. And so we would all know what catalog, but the DegreeWorks system does that automatically. So this is an opportunity to update that if needed.
Wonderful. Dr. Chelf, Dr. Marilyn Gardner, I'll take this question related to catalog year from Dr. Shugart. Are we using the term catalog year? I thought we were not formally using that term with graduate programs.
We do use that, and we are using that. We've always, students have always followed the catalog year, the curriculum for the year that they were admitted. That has always been. But we have not had a process to change the catalog year because Lisa is doing that manually for students and faculty based on, what curriculum they listed on the paper program of study. So it is, yes, that is the terminology.
Dr. Shugart, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Yeah,
Sure.
I think the formality of it now, I think is what's different. So
Yes, it is.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Chelf, Dr. Gardner has a question regarding academic misconduct. Are faculty required to report academic misconduct to the misconduct office, or are faculty still empowered to fail a student on assessment and/or class for academic misconduct? Great question.
It is. And I believe you are allowed to assess an F for the course. Yes, that is your perspective. Yes.
Wonderful.
I would refer any academic misconduct questions to the Office of Student Conduct, though, for them to weigh in if you had questions about it.
Wonderful.
Mhm.
So advance the slide, Dr. Chelf.
Yes. The catalog obviously is published for this year. It is available. It's at the same link as always. We are still working on the PDF copy for that. They are generating that for us right now, undergrad and grad. So that should be available very soon, but you can download the PDF of the page, but not the full document just yet. But it will be there soon. And
I'm sorry, I
That's
have to go
okay.
back. No. Oh, here.
Yes. And the archive catalogs as well. I'm going to be working on a new website with all of the catalog archive links readily available. So that will be forthcoming. We had an issue with the 2018-19 web version of the catalog that I've been working with CourseLeaf to correct those issues. So we will be relaunching all of those archive catalogs very soon. The thesis specialist project and dissertation, we have revised guidelines. Those have gone to graduate council last year. We had to postpone those mainly because my time was spent on DegreeWorks and needed to get the example documents together and so forth. And so that was postponed. And then now Dr. Kudali would like us to use DocuSign for the signature page. It's a system that they used at his former institution. And I think he's wanting to do that for GA appointments and various other forms in our office. Shonda Spencer was leading that charge. And so she is leaving. So now we're going to hold on those guidelines, mainly because by the time that we got a DocuSign document ready for the signature page, we're going to be up against the fall deadline. And we don't want to put any students and faculty committees and things in a lurch on, you need to change your whole format. We will, when we launch those, we will give students and faculty plenty of time to know that they're there and to follow the new formatting. So those are postponed. The fall deadline is November 19th, Friday, November 19th for the fall submission.
Patel, there is a question in the chat box. Perhaps you can take some time and then respond to it.
Sure. The question from Sally is adding a non-thesis track about 2 years ago. Oh, I think I answered that, Sally, through email. We can talk about it later. But yes, we will talk about it later, Sally. So she has a question about what the electives are listed for their program in DegreeWorks. And last year, we were granted by the former provost an opportunity for programs to identify what unidentified electives that should be scribed in DegreeWorks without going through curriculum. So what you see in DegreeWorks is what was identified by the faculty in the programs. And from this point on, if you need to make changes to any curriculum that you see, it will need to go through faculty governance. But Sally, you and I can talk a little bit later about that if you want.
Wonderful. Should I move ahead, Dr. Chelf?
Let's see, the data, I just reporting out just a little bit of data from the graduate records side. One thing that I thought was interesting was this summer, Lisa processed 260 credentials, and that was just for summer. And that's not counting all of the audits that she did of students who did not complete. So that represented 40% of all credentials awarded for summer at WKU. So I wanted to put that out there. That's quite significant for our side, for the graduate side. That's a lot of credentials for our team, and I was really pleased with that. And you can see the breakdowns there. Thesis, specialist project, and dissertation summer, there were 35. That's about average for summer. It's typically closer to 40, but just in light of COVID and a lot of challenges, that's really not a terrible number. For the academic year was 92. And again, that was maybe just a few lower, but that's about right for what we do now on an academic year basis. One of the other big highlights was, I'm just so proud of, is academic standing for summer. The first semester ever, we had 0 dismissals. So, we've got to give credit where credit's due. That's, the faculty time and talents and the caliber of students that we have. I've never seen that. I've been here 9 years this month, And that is the first time that that has ever come back with 0 dismissals. When I first came, academic standing was not automated. It was sporadic at best. And I think the first time we ever ran academic standing, we ended up dismissing just a crazy number. I know there were hundreds on probation and so forth. So to have 18 students placed on academic probation and 0 dismissals was really, really good. And, you know, nothing that we've done, but certainly, you know, the faculty deserve a lot of credit for that. And we can do the next slide.
Wonderful.
So
Thank you.
anybody
I'll
have
look at the
questions, I'm happy to answer.
Well, I just want to take a moment. You know, the DegreeWorks project is a project that really is a large-scale project. And I want to just talk about an anecdotal story. When I was moving from South Dakota to here to WKU, I knew that DegreeWorks was coming. And I was talking with an associate dean in the Midwest, and she had asked me, "Are you adding a new staff to your graduate school?" And I said, "No, not at all." And she said, "You must be really crazy not to do so. It really requires additional staffing to maintain DegreeWorks." But Dr. Chelf, Ms. Lisa Myers, Ms. Laura Birchfield, and ITS worked incredibly hard, and also Izzy put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. And we have a software that will help faculty, but first and foremost, our students. It has this function of what if, and right at the fingertips at any time, they will know where they are, how many courses are required for completion of their program, and what if they would like to add on a certificate, etc. So kudos to this wonderful and amazing team for accomplishing this, particularly during a raging pandemic. And I'm truly grateful for Dr. Chelf's outstanding leadership and her team for bringing this in a timely manner. So I truly remain grateful. Now, moving on to recruitment, we also have some exciting news there, and I'll start with Slate. Slate was a project that had fits and starts, and one phase of it related to customer relations management was accomplished by Dr. Scott Gordon in 8 months. Just as a frame of reference, the undergraduate admissions took 19 months. It was a one-man operation from Dr. Scott Gordon, and again, immense help from ITS. So we accomplished 2 big major projects during a raging pandemic when there was steep challenges, uncertainty, and working remotely. So Dr. Gordon, do you want to get us started with CRM? And I'll then talk about the first half of the slide.
Certainly, Dr. Kudali. Slate is something that we've been working on in different guises for a while now. And it is, we do have some functionality that's available with it in terms of the customer relationship management aspect. We do have an info form on our webpage. If you go just to wku.edu/graduate, there is a form that students can fill out, and we're getting inquiries every day from that form. So that's something that we're very, very pleased about. Students currently get an email that gives them a lot of information about WKU when they fill that form out, and we have that information in a database, and we will start distributing that to programs so that you know who has inquired about your program or expressed an interest in your program. We're going to start doing that in October, so very soon. It is actually, when I looked at it a few moments ago, we have now over 160 prospective students have completed that form, so that's wonderful. And we are also very close to having an additional email or additional personalized emails that will go out to students who complete that form. So additionally, we are having, whenever we speak with a student, whether that's at a graduate fair or at in person or on the phone, we're doing our best to capture their contact information, and we are making sure that we do have them in the Slate system so that we can more effectively recruit them as prospective students to WKU.
Wonderful. Thank you, Gordon, again for your leadership. So the CRM will allow us to engage with prospective students. So we come asking for your help If you receive an inquiry, please forward that to graduate.school@wku.edu. This will allow us to capture their information in Slate, and we will be able to engage with them. We are working on a multi-email marketing campaign, and so Scott is working very hard with undergraduate admissions to ensure that we provide additional information about our programs. We've also hired a student worker, Ms. Maria Sievers, who is helping Scott with some of the recruitment efforts. Additionally, we have a diversity ambassador, Mr. Anthony Mathis. He has previously worked at ISEC, and we are interested in increasing the pipeline of our underserved and underrepresented minority students. So Anthony has already built relations with ISEC, and we have him in our operations since August, and his close connections to ISEC will help drive some of our recruitment efforts. And we anticipate Mr. Anthony Mathis working closely with Dr. Scott Gordon and myself and the Distinguished Minority Fellows program to support these talented 15 students. Moving on. Dr. Gordon, you want to just share enrollment for week first and some of our recruitment events that we are planning for fall?
Certainly. As you can see there, we do have our enrollment. It's approximately 2004 students, or it was as of week 4. Of course, we still have about a month to go. We're about 4 weeks until our fall enrollment is finalized as of the census date. We also look at credit hour enrollment in the graduate school because obviously everything is on a per credit hour basis. So that's also an important metric for us. So you see that information there. In terms of recruitment events, we actually do have some in-person events coming up in the next few weeks where I will be going to different schools that are holding graduate and career fairs. We'll be out the next few weeks, or different parts of the next few weeks doing that. And then we're also going to have some virtual fairs, and we have contacted some folks in each of the academic colleges to do a focused virtual fair that the graduate school, in conjunction with each individual academic college, will host a fair to hopefully recruit students that are interested in the programs that are contained within that specific graduate college, and give us some more as I said, focus on being able to work with that group. We also have some other virtual recruitment fairs planned for special groups such as military students, faculty and staff, and alumni.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dr. Gordon. So please, if you're interested in partnering with us, we would be able to co-host and help program-specific or college-specific virtual recruitment fairs. What we have seen from the past is that students who attend our virtual recruitment fairs would like program-specific information, and instead of having a general recruitment fair, our efforts will be focused towards college and our program-specific virtual recruitment fairs. We can leverage the connections we have with marketing, who will use their social media access to inform and publicize these virtual events. So we come asking for your collaboration, and we'll be glad to work closely with you to drive growth and enrollment in your programs. Here is a question, Dr. Gordon. Perhaps you can address that. In the chat feature.
Okay, hang on just a moment.
I'm thinking it's admissions or recruitment related.
Students that don't have credentials for one program, we would be glad to get that information, because they may have the credentials available for a different program, and we could communicate that with them.
Absolutely. That's a great question, Sally. I had a prospective student who wrote a letter asking how should he apply to a PhD in sociology and criminology. So I wrote, I don't have his email address nor his phone number. So I wrote a letter stating that we do have some programs such as EDD in organizational leadership. And then he replied back stating that he would like to know more details about the EDD. So perhaps, sharing such information may be helpful for us if we can direct them to other programs that may be of interest. Thank you. I will move on and we'll talk about graduate student research grant a little bit. Ms. Shonda Spencer is not here with us. So the new budget and resources manager will be handling this. But despite the pause on spending on internal grants, we were able to have the graduate student research grants last year. I was very successful in advocating for a continuation of the graduate student research grants despite the steep uncertainty in our budget. And the Graduate Council Research Committee helped the graduate school. And I'm deeply thankful to Dr. Diane Lickenbrock, Dr. Sarah Oakes, Dr. Lily Juhadar, and Dr. Cheryl Hobson-Ware for a few months on the committee. And later, Dr. Jeff Butterfield and Ms. Angie Dolan joined this committee. And in particular, I'm grateful to Dr. Diane Lickenbrock for her exceptional services. We were able to award 26 awards last year. This year, we have a full committee. Dr. Sarah Oakes will be the chair of the Graduate Council Research Committee. And we plan to have a workshop on September the 27th. We will soon send out an email to the graduate students. Please do inform graduate students of this workshop on September the 27th. Faculty, all staff, all email will also be sent, but please indicate to your graduate students that there is a graduate student research workshop that will have Dr. Sarah Oakes and myself providing tips and guidelines. The deadline for the fall submission is October the 11th. We come asking you for your grace and patience. We will have a new budget and resources manager, so it may take some time for us to process these grants, but I'm hoping that by the time the students have been identified, we will be able to do so in a timely manner. Again, having a new person in our operations may delay processing, and I come asking for your grace. We also made some policy changes. I was trying to understand what the barriers are, and I'm pleased to state that the Graduate Student Research Index is exempt from carry forward capture. This means that we will get any unused money from FY19, FY20 to the FY21 carry forward. And in the December meeting of the Board of Regents, hopefully this money will be allocated to us. But this policy change allows for robust funding and continuation of any unspent money despite this index being educational and grants index. So I'm really pleased that we got support from the highest level of administration to include the graduate student research grants also to be exempt from carry forward capture. Both the FUSE and RCAP grants were previously exempt from carry forward capture. Also, we will be using facilities and administrative costs, F&A dollars, to support graduate students. If you look at the operating budget, the index number 221100 has nearly $10,100 in annual allocation centrally. That does not allow for robust funding of graduate student research grants. So we will continue to use F&A from ORCA, which I coincidentally had. So it is easy for me to transfer money and to support graduate students. So this is exciting development regarding graduate student research grants. We have expanded upon outreach activities since last year. I've initiated a new series called Grad Learn, we have also expanded opportunities for professional development of students. We had a graduate student research grants workshop. We had a 3-minute thesis competition. We worked closely with the Counseling Center to initiate a graduate wellness program called GradWell. And in light of the fact that we are expanding our outreach activities, I was able to repurpose an existing position to a research and graduate education outreach coordinator. And I was delighted when Laura agreed to move over from being an office associate to an outreach coordinator. She brings a lot of experiences in event management, and so her expertise is very helpful to allow us to engage with faculty, undergraduate students and graduate students, and also external entities such as ETS, the National Professional Science Masters Association, etc. So Laura, could you talk a little bit about your roles in trying to help us as an ORCA and graduate school serve the WKU campus community?
Of course. Dr. Kudali and I have been working diligently to develop new programs and existing workshops for our students and faculty members, both on the grad school side and on the ORCA side. We've shared recordings of our virtual events, such as the new graduate student orientation and GRE strategy workshop this semester. Also, as a side note, please share any instances where a student or group of students within your program has benefited from an event that we've hosted. It lets us know that we're on the right track. A recent example is an email we received from Mackenzie Watson, who's the Director of Student Athlete Career and Development here at WKU. She'd reached out to us to see if WKU Athletics could have permission to post the GRE workshop, PowerPoint, and recording to their Blackboard account to be utilized by the student athletes interested in pursuing professional school post-graduation. Dr. Kudali naturally approved the request, and any insight such as this on or any new topic would be beneficial either for yourself or for your students. Let's see, for another event that we have coming up, I believe Dr. Kudali mentioned this. Dr. Sarah Oakes has been kind enough to assist us in the upcoming graduate student research grant workshop. An email was sent out to students this week, and we'll share information with you all so you all can encourage your students to attend. It'll provide an overview on how to apply for a research grant, guidance on a budget, general insight into the process, and information on how to access those funds and other tips. So please encourage your students to attend that. Further down the chart, Dr. John Augusto will be presenting a session on holistic admissions for our Grad Learn event on October 1st. We'll be looking to see, clearly see applicant potential, how to admit qualified students and achieve diversity goals. And then Dr. Kudali, would you like to say a few words on the My IDP workshop?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Laura. So having Laura's assistance and help and focusing on outreach has really helped a lot of us in ORCA and some in the graduate school and in myself particularly to free our time for other things. So Laura is fully focused and immersed on these outreach activities. My individual development workshop is something that I've been doing since 2017. So this will be offered on October the 5th. And this essentially provides a structured plan for students to identify their skills, interests, and values. I worked with the chemistry department and the math department. And in fact, in the month of August, I had the privilege of visiting with graduate students in the math program, courtesy of Professor Richard Shugart. We got excellent feedback from the My IDP workshop for the math students that was conducted last spring. And so I'm excited to offer this workshop campus-wide. And if any programs would like a program-specific workshop, I'll be glad to visit with graduate students. And so this is something exciting that will allow students to prepare for addressing any gaps that they have in their skills so that they can reach their career goals. So this is a highly structured assessment tool that is as a free resource developed by the AAAS, and I encourage particularly STEM graduate program coordinators to inform students of this workshop. There are a couple of questions. I'll take that one from Dr. Kong. The question is, are the GRE and Grad Learn workshops open to non-WKU students? So I'll answer in two parts. The GRE strategy workshop was for WKU undergraduate and graduate students. The Grad Learn series, which I initiated last fall, is meant for WKU faculty. I leverage the connections I have with external bodies and experts in the area of graduate education bring their knowledge and evidence-based practices. So the Grad Learn workshops are meant for WKU faculty and staff, and the workshops that I do are mainly meant for graduate students, but some, like the GRE strategy workshops, are also helpful for undergraduate students. I hope that addresses your question, Dr. Kong. Dr. Caldick had a question about GA contracts. This is for this current fiscal year, Dr. Dick, we are using the old model. This is a conversation I will soon have with Provost Bud Fisher as to how he would like the GA processes to go. From our end, we have streamlined and we have cut down from in processing a GA application from 30 minutes to as little as 10 or 12 minutes. So this is on the radar for me to visit with the provost. One of the things we are waiting for is the Axiom software to integrate and work effectively with Banner. So until we have that information, we may not be able to process, but I will certainly bring back information from the provost and his vision to see how this contracts will. So Laura, anything else on this grad school events you would like that I may have missed inadvertently?
Just towards the tail end, the Grad Learn session on TOEFL Essentials, we'll send out some information to that to interested faculty. And then of course the GradWell is a partnership that Dr. Kudali has facilitated with the Counseling Center. So that will be a great session for our students. And then last but certainly not least, there will be an information session at a to be determined date for recruitment strategies. But that's all I have for today, sir.
Thank you so much, Laura. So it's really great to have Laura fully immersed and help out with outreach activities related to research and graduate education. I'll take a moment to talk about TOEFL Essentials. I briefly mentioned this to the policy committee earlier today. TOEFL has come with a new exam called TOEFL Essentials. Essentially, it is an exam that students can complete in about an hour and a half, and a number of institutions in the nation, such as University of Arizona and Purdue University, just to represent two universities, have allowed programs to accept TOEFL Essentials also, in addition to IELTS, TOEFL, etc. So this is something that the policy committee will be looking closely, and in order to help them understand and ourselves to be educated, the ETS team will help me organize a TOEFL Essentials webinar. So Laura, is this the time for the next poll?
Sure, we can do that, sir. Just one second.
Wonderful, thank you much. So essentially, since the last year, I've had the privilege of working closely with so many units on campus. We have built relations with alumni, with CITL, with Counseling Center, with faculty and staff across programs, and we would like to serve each of you as well. So we would like to know, how often would you like to meet with us? How often should we share updates? And so this poll is to give us a pulse as to how often should we meet, exchange information, etc. So we still have 55% participation. There are still, okay, so the results are very close, 9 out of 16 once a semester, and 7 out of 16 once a year. So thank you for the feedback, and we will certainly explore options of visiting in spring so that we can share updates, we can get high quality feedback and see how we can serve each of you better. Let's see, and this is some information I have shared with all of you previously. So in the interest of time, I'll skip the next few slides. They are informational purposes. This is a partnership with ETS. If you're interested in helping them with this program called Personal Skills, certainly will be more than welcome. And this is something that I shared with the Graduate Council. If you have some students who have been awarded a degree in the disciplines of biological, life sciences, or humanities during the period July 1st to June 30th, we would like to propose them for the Midwestern Association of Graduate Schools Thesis Award. Coincidentally, I serve as the MAGS chair. So I'll stop there and we'll take questions from the audience. Thank you so much for giving an opportunity to be part of your afternoon today. The Zoom session is open for questions, and we'll be glad to take questions from any of you. Any takers? I know it's a Thursday. We have one more day to survive. It's been a long week for all of us. Any questions, comments in the chat box are welcome as well. I don't see any emoji. Oh, go ahead.
I have one just kind of by the way question. If you guys are doing away with the program of study forms, which, you know, in many ways is a real nice thing, what will be the basis then for the degree audits? It used to involve looking at the program of study and then looking at the transcript. Is simply looking at the transcript and seeing they meet the program requirements?
So DegreeWorks is replacing the program of study, and all of the curriculum has been scribed from your program into DegreeWorks. So there's nothing else to do. The elective choices, DegreeWorks is going to do the audit for us in the long term. Well, obviously, there will always be exceptions. There will always be, you know, things that we need to manually handle. But in the long term, that is what it's for. Just like ICAP does the audit for the undergrad degree audit currently, and they are obviously replacing that system.
Thank you.
And the same answer, if you have electives in your program, those were defined by the program faculty for us last summer, and those have been programmed in as well. So,
well, I'll just say this for the rest of the program coordinators. In biology, we have an introduction to graduate studies that students take it the first semester. And I had them do a mock program of study this semester, just as a way for them to think about their coursework across the semesters and sort of build a timeline to completion of their degree. And it was really just an exercise for them. But maybe we'll continue that, maybe not, but I found it useful. Hopefully they did.
DegreeWorks has some functionality that's a planner that undergrad uses, the 4-year plans. Graduate is just a different animal, and we don't have plans for each program, a 1-year, 2-year plan, whatever, but it is available. So if, you know, there are some programs that do have, you know, pretty much lockstep, except for maybe a couple of choices, it might be something you want to look at, but we can talk about that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dick, for that important questions. I want to be mindful and sensitive of your time. It is 5 minutes after 4:30 p.m. Do we have any questions of us? Well, if not, on behalf of the graduate school, we would like to thank you for your participation today. Please do keep in touch with us. We are here to help and serve you to the best of our abilities. We ask for your grace and patience at times. There's so much time in a day that we can do. And with a pandemic and other challenges surrounding us, we are striving to do our best. It's truly been a privilege and honor serving in the graduate school and helping each of you and your students. And to that, we remain committed. We will have another program coordinators meeting in spring and share updates, and perhaps we will use that opportunity to listen to all of you and then organize topic-specific information sessions. So thank you for being a part of us this afternoon, and have a wonderful rest of the day. And we will be in touch and continue to serve each of you to the best of our abilities. Thank you again, and bye-bye.